Okay, guys, hello again. We are going for the March 12th session. I hope maybe the sound is better. I'm using another microphone, having some technical trouble. Okay, let's go ahead. All right, so we still are in chapter 4, okay? Remember, international rate, the interest rate parity. So we are still talking about the interest rate parity, okay? So we are still here, all right? So far, we have been doing arbitrage problems, okay? Where there is a disequilibrium in the market and we try to invest, we try to take advantage of the market, okay? So it's us speculating, okay? We are investing, okay? We are trying to make money out of the market, okay? Today, however, we're gonna do something different, okay? And we remember the interest rate parity like always, okay? So interest rate parity, the idea that for an investor it should be the same to invest your money anywhere in the world. If the investments that you are doing have the same risk, you should have the same profit, even though you have to change the currency, okay? So that's where we are. But today we're going to be doing something different, okay? All right, today let me first start by introducing to something that we already had discussed in class, okay? We already had discussed in class. It is the idea of the credit discount, okay? We already had discussed in class, or at least we introduced it when we were talking about the financial crisis of 0708, okay? The mortgage crisis. But let me remind you what it was, okay? Okay, so to understand what we're talking about here, we need to understand what is the discount operation. Okay, the discount operation is a really common operation that almost every small and medium-sized company is going to do at the end of the month. Okay, you know how this works. Okay, you know, I mean, you are a company, you're a small company, you're a medium-sized company, you are doing business, and you are getting checks. Okay, you're getting money over here. All right, you're getting paid. So you're getting checks saying that people are gonna, or contracts saying that people are gonna pay you in 60 days, in 90 days, etc. Okay, but it may happen that even though you have a lot of checks, a lot of people owe you money, it may happen that by the end of the month you're broke. You don't have cash. Okay, this is a frequent problem that we have to solve in management. It is the tension between liquidity, and solvency. Okay, do you know the difference? Someone at the bottom knows the difference? You, Austin, you know the difference? No? Okay. All right. Um, I will ask that in class, so all habits. Okay, so liquidity means cash. Okay, means that you have cash in your pocket. Okay. Solvency, however, is that your credit, what people owe you, is worth more than what you owe. Okay, the total amount of your assets, okay, what people owe you, well, it's more than what you owe to people. Okay, so that could be that, and that's a problem sometimes, that you can be solvent, but you have no liquidity. Okay. All right, so that means that people owe you checks, but you don't have cash at the end. And what's the problem there? That you don't have cash at the end of the month, then you can't pay your employees, so they're not happy. You can pay your rent, you can pay your facilities, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so that's a big problem, and most medium-sized and small-sized companies are going to suffer that problem most months. So what can you do? Well, what you can do, you can go to your bank. Okay, normally you're gonna have an open discount line for to do this sort of automatically at the end of the month. Okay, you can go to your bank and you can discount your checks. That means that you are going to give the check to the bank. The bank is going to advance you the money today, and they are going to discount a fee. Okay, they're gonna take a little fee. All right. Why? Well, by doing that, now you have cash, okay, and Basically, that means that you can pay your employees, you can pay your rent, okay, and you can go crazy, okay, with the crazy life that you love. All right. Almost every medium-sized and small-sized company do this every now and then. Okay. I used to work in a it was more there. Okay. And in this, I say tiny because well, we were just my boss, crazy guy. He yelled. I mean, he didn't know how to use a computer. It's not that he didn't know how to use a computer. He didn't own a computer. Whenever he wanted to send an email. I'm talking about 2006, I think. 2006, yes. It wasn't that far away. Okay, so we had computers and emails. So whenever he wanted to send an email, he would write it down and give me a paper, and then I had to type it in the computer. And sometimes I don't understand his writing, and he comes crazy. So the guy was crazy, and we were just him, the guy, the IT guy that was doing a website, came a couple of days a week. I was an intern, okay, and the person that was supposed to teach me, he, well, she, she she went away the first day I arrived. Okay, she was sick of the guy. Okay, so it was crazy. And then in the same company, we have three kind of companies. Okay, we have one company that was selling machines to paint cars. Another company in the same place. Another company with a different ID, whatever, that was selling air conditioners. Okay, and a third company in the same place, same people, that was selling gourmet products like ham and cheese. Crazy. But at the end of the month, that's something that I learned from this craziness. Okay, at the end of the month, we had to do this. Okay, we had to do the discount thing. So at the end of the month, we will see the checks that we had. I will say, okay, so this check that is due in 60 days, let's collect it now. Okay, and take that the little discount that the bank is gonna do it. Problem. That's okay when you are a company, a domestic company. Okay, but whenever you introduce the factor of international transactions, whenever your clients are overseas, are in a different country with a different legislation, you're getting paid in a different currency, so you introduce the idea of the foreign exchange risk. Banks won't take the risk. Okay? Banks won't give you money in advance for your checks, okay, because they are not willing to take the risk of, having to pursue a client in a different. When that happens, okay, luckily for us, we have the tools in finance, so we can create something like the discount operation, but without being a discount, official discount operation. Okay, how are we gonna do that? All right, so that's gonna be our problem actually. Okay, so the basic idea, I mean, we're gonna do a basic version of this. Okay, it could get more complicated. All right, it could get more complicated. If I see that it's proper, I may send you an extra credit that you can do. Okay, but you're gonna see like a more advanced version of this idea. But on the basic situation, okay, that we are going to present here, we're gonna be a company doing business abroad. Okay, like this. We are getting paid in the future in a foreign currency. I mean, imagine, no, you are an architecture firm from the US and you are you are designing a building in France. Okay, so they're gonna pay you when you end the design. They're gonna be a year from now, and they're gonna pay you €1 million, for example, and you are in the US. Okay, so we need two things. Well, three things. Sorry, we need to protect our money from the foreign exchange risk. We don't want to bear any risk. We don't want to wait 1 year to know how many dollars that €1 million is going to be. We can't. Okay, we don't want to do that. But also, we need cash today. Okay, we want also cash today. Okay, we need cash today to pay our salaries, to pay our architects, to pay our designers, to pay everything, to pay rent, to pay everything that we need to pay. And well, since we are operating in at least 2 countries, we can check where this operation is going to be better. Okay, where it's going to give us more money today. So that means that it's going to be cheaper for us. So that's going to be the basic idea. Okay. How are we going to do that? Okay, how are we going to do that? Well, to protect our money from the foreign exchange risk, we know that already. Okay, we can sign a forward contract with our bank, with our bank, where we say, okay, in a year we're gonna bring €1,000,000. You're gonna give us how many dollars? Well, it depends on the offer that they can give you. Okay, the rate that they can give you. Okay. To get cash today, and that's the key here, okay, and this is the basic version of this problem, okay. On this basic version of this problem, to get cash today, what we're going to do, we are going to ask for a loan that we can pay back with the exact amount of money that we are receiving in the future, okay. So if we are receiving, for example, if we're asking for that loan in Europe, okay, because we're going to compare Europe and the US in this case, so we're asking for that loan in Europe, and we know that in 6 months, in 1 year, sorry, we are receiving €1,000,000, we are going to ask for a loan today, which final value, the amount that we pay in 1 year, is exactly €1,000,000. So we need to calculate the present value, how much money we can get today. So it's going to be part of the problem. Okay. So we are going to do this operation, okay, in both the domestic country and the foreign country. In the example that I'm following, the domestic country will be the US, the foreign country will be Europe, France, okay? The one that allows us to have more money today is the one that we're going to say that is the cheaper operation, so that's the one that we want to do. Simple, okay? Important advice here that I haven't said yet, I think. This is not an arbitrage, okay? This is not an investment. We are not gambling here. We are not speculating. It's just us getting paid for our, I guess, honest work, okay? But it's just us getting paid for our work, okay? We are not investing, we are not speculating, okay? So that means we are not speculating. That means that we never have a profit here. We always have a cost, always, okay? The discount operation always have a cost, okay? What is the cost? The cost is going to be the difference between the money that you can get if you wait for the whole year, in this example that I'm talking about, and the money that you can get today. Okay? That difference between the money that you can get today and the money that you get if you wait, that's going to be our cost. And there is always a cost, okay? And it's a cost that we bear because we need cash today, okay? So that's the fee that we had to pay, okay? The cost of having money today. Whichever operation gives us the smaller cost, the cheaper cost, is the one that we want. We are trying to save money here, okay? We are never making money. We are never making a profit. We are trying to save money here. That's a big difference when comparing with the arbitrage. All right? Okay, so let's see a problem. I'm looking for a cheaper operation. So this is going to be our first problem, okay? Ojuge Caló is a Spanish company committed to the protection of Spanish souvenirs. So we are a Spanish company, and in 6 months here, we are receiving $1,000,000. Okay, and so we need some liquidity today. Okay, that's the idea. All right, so that's what it matters. So let's perform the operation with this situation. First, before we start, you realize here we have the discount points of 0.0051 and 0.0048. Those are discount points, are swap points. Okay, those are not the forward rate for 6 months that we need to perform the exercise. Okay, so what do we need? Well, we need, remember, to compare the discount points. since the bid discount point is bigger than the ask discount point, we say that we are going to subtract the discount points from the spot rate, okay? Because the bid discount point is bigger than the ask discount points, okay? If we subtract it, we get these two rates, okay? That's going to be the rates that we're going to be playing with in this problem, okay? Then about the monetary market, the market for interest rates, we know already that there is a difference between the lend and the borrow. If you realize, I told you that this is not an investment, okay? This is us trying to make the best of our money. And this is us at some point asking for a loan that we can pay back with the Sarant Bank money that we can receive in 6 months. So really, all that we need is the borrow interest rates, both of them. We won't use the invest, the lend interest rate, because we are not investing here. Okay? All right, so let's go. Let's do it. This is the layout for this problem. Okay? So we have the domestic country and the foreign country. Okay? Doesn't matter where we are in this particular problem that we are doing right now. Remember that we are a Spanish company and we're receiving dollars, okay? But it could be anything else. So domestic country and foreign country. So what do we need to do? In this case, I think it's simple, more simple than the other one, the arbitrage, okay? It's just a matter of 2 steps today, sorry, not today, 2 steps in the domestic country and 2 steps in the foreign country, okay? And then we need to compare them, okay? So in the domestic country, let's start there. The question that we always need to ask ourselves is the same. Do we know how much money in our currency we are going to receive in X time, in whatever time it is? In this problem was 6 months. Do we know it? No, we know the amount in the foreign currency. So that's why the first step for domestic country would be to sign a forward contract to exchange money to your currency in X time. Okay? To do that is the money that you are receiving, okay, times or divided by the forward exchange rate bid or ask, depending. If you are multiplying, it will be bid. If you are dividing, it will be ask. Okay, but it is the forward rate. Why? Because you don't get the money today, you get the money in the future. That's why we are using the forward rate. Once we know how much money we are going to receive in our currency, it is time to ask for a loan in our country, which final value equals step number 1. So equals the amount of money that you are receiving in your currency in the future. Okay? So how do we know that? How do we do that? Sorry. So with this expression, or let me clean this a little bit. Okay, with this expression, all right, we got the final value equal the present value times 1 plus the interest rate borrow. I mean, the expression that we always use, but this time we have to solve for the present value. That's the one number that we don't know. We normally know it, but this time we don't know it. We know the final value, we don't know the present value. Okay, so we can change the expressions to look like this. Okay, so final value over 1 plus the interest rate to borrow times t over 12. And that present value is going to be the money that you get today in your currency. Okay, let's go to the foreign country. So once again, do we know how much money we are going to receive in X time in the foreign currency? Well, yes, we know. We know from the beginning. Okay, in the sample that we're going to do right now, it's going to be with the $1 million. Okay, so then if we know that amount, we can go ahead and ask for a loan in the foreign country. Sorry, in the foreign country, which final value is the money that you are getting in the future in the foreign currency. Okay. Let me clean this up a little bit. So the same idea. Okay. The final value is the money that we are getting paid in the future. Okay. The present value, we don't know. Right. So let's calculate that. That present value is going to be the money that you get today, but in the foreign currency. So we are not done. The next step will be to exchange the present value from step 1 to your currency. So let's do that, okay? So present value from step number 1 times or divided by the spot exchange rate, okay? That's why you had the tip there. It's the present value, so we use the spot rate. It is today that we are changing that money. Once you do that, you get the money that you can get today in your currency. Finally, we need to decide which one we want. We want the one that is bigger. We want the biggest amount. More or less? Let's do the problem, okay? Let me do the first one with you, okay? And then the next two that we're gonna do today, okay? I'm gonna ask you to pause and do it yourself, okay? But let's do the first one together. Okay, let's try to follow me up. So maybe take some notes, okay, and try to follow me up like if you were in class taking notes, okay? Let's try to do the same thing. All right, so let's go for the solution, okay? Remember, we are a Spanish company receiving $1 million in 6 months, okay? So let's go for the domestic country. The first question that we need to ask ourselves, do we know how much money we are receiving in our currency in 6 months? No, we don't. Okay, we know that we're receiving $1 million. We don't know how many euros that's going to be. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, we need to sign a forward contract. Okay, to exchange the money in 6 months. Okay, we are multiplying because the currency that we are trading is at the bottom of the chain rate. Okay, over here, and since we are multiplying, we are using the bid. Okay, so that's going to give us 1,036,500 euros in 6 months. That's the money that we get if we wait 6 months. The problem is that we don't want to wait. We can't wait. We need money today. To get money today, we go for the second step. Okay, we're going to ask for a loan in the domestic country, in our country, which final value equals the amount of money that we get in 6 months in our currency. Okay, the one that we got in step number 1, 1,036,500. Okay, so we do the numbers. Okay, so that's going to be our final value. So we calculate it, and we need to solve for the present value. This amount of money is what we can get today if we perform the operation in our country. You realize, of course, it's lower than the amount of money that we can get if we wait. That's our cost. Okay, we're gonna see that later. Okay. All right, let's perform the operation in the foreign country to see which one is better. You know, if the interest rate parity was in equilibrium, these two options should be more or less better, more or less equal. If it's not holding, one maybe one better than the other. Or even if it's more or less holding because of the bid, the ask, the different fees that we had to pay, also that could make a difference. So it is always worth it to check, okay, to compare. In the foreign country, do we know how many dollars in this particular case, because the foreign country is going to be the US, do we know how many dollars we are getting in 6 months? Well, yes, we do. We are getting $1 million. Okay, so then the first step means that says that we can ask for a loan, which final value is the exact amount of money that we are getting in 6 months. That's $1 million. So now $1 million is our final value. So we do calculations. Okay, that's the interest rate to borrow money in the US. Okay, and we get this money today. That's the present value. That's money that we get today. That's our cash, but it's not in euros, and we are Spanish, so we need euros. That's why the second step It's going to be to exchange that money to your currency today. So I'm writing today in capital letters to just stress out the fact that we need to use a spot rate, okay, because it is today. Once again, we are multiplying because once again we are going from dollars to euros. So once again we are using the bid. Okay, in this problem, you're using bid, you use it in the both operations, okay, because we are always moving in the same direction. You use ask, you're gonna use it in both of them because we are always moving in the same direction. Okay, in this case, we are always moving from dollars to euros. All right, so this amount is the amount of money that you can get in cash today if you perform the operation in the foreign country. So that comes from the final decision. We want it bigger. Well, clearly, the domestic country one is the bigger one. So that's the one that we want. Okay? We are not done really. I mean, normally this kind of problem, this kind of operation, okay, it wasn't the question in this case, but this kind of operation, normally what you want to tell your boss is which operation is going to be cheaper. Okay, so how do we calculate the cost of this operation? Okay, so I did this presentation so you guys can see where the money come from. Okay, so let's take away all the things that we don't need and let's just keep the relevant stuff. Okay, we just need to keep for the cost the money that we get if we wait. So that's given by the forward contract that you sign in the step number 1 in the domestic country. And then we need the money that we can get today in both the domestic country and the foreign country. Okay? So where do we get the cost for the domestic country? Easy. The cost for the domestic country comes from the difference between the money that we get if we wait and the money that we can get today. So that's the 30,600 euros cost. Where do we get the money, the cost in the foreign country? Look at what happened now. We get it from the money in our currency if we wait minus the money that we can get today. So that's the cost of 32,548. Of course, and that's why this circle is here, okay? We want the one that it is cheaper, okay? The one that is cheaper is going to give us more money today, okay? So that's the one that we want. But that's not the end. You remember there was a second question. I know you realized it before, okay? I didn't talk about it before, okay? But there was a second question, okay? That question over here. What should the borrow dollar interest rate for 6 months be according to the situation in the currency market and considering the euro interest rate is fixed? Think about the IRP, okay? So here you have the IRP, the interest rate parity. Basically, what I'm asking you is to imagine that all the numbers that I've given you, the one that you have used, are fixed, except for the borrow dollar interest rate. So what I'm telling you is plug all the numbers that you have used into the formula and solve for the interest rate to borrow dollars. Should you use the bid or the ask? Well, use the same numbers that we have used during this particular problem. So in this problem, you remember, we have used the bid, the bid, the bid, and we have used the borrow and the borrow. Okay, so let's use those. Okay, don't use other because then it won't make sense. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so solve for the borrow dollar interest rate. Okay, so the forward or here, the spot that we have used. Okay, the spot 12 over 600, 6% is the interest rate to borrow in Europe, and then we need to solve for the interest rate in dollars. We do some calculations here. You can practice a little bit with your solving 1x kind of skills, okay? And then you should get 6.98%. Okay, from the 7, I think it was 50, right? So 6.98%. With that interest rate, we will be in equilibrium, and the amount that you can get in both countries will be the same. Okay, easy, right? Okay, so let's practice now. Let's do the problem 2 from the document problem chapter for 2 discount problems. Okay, you had that on Canvas. Okay, I think I forgot to mention before. All right, so that's our problem now. Okay, now we are an American company. God is hot, like weather, not religious. Okay, it's actually the English version of the Oju que calor is how we say in Sevilla, in my town, that is really hot. Okay, it's an expression. So you are now an American company and you are receiving 1 million euros in 6 months. Okay, so with all the tips that I give you before, okay, with explanation, please pause the video and try to do it yourself, and then you come back. Okay, let's pause a little bit. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Okay, I mean, I was learning about some awesome food in English. Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, sorry. Let's go back to the problem. Okay, so the first thing that we need to know, let's clean this up, is what do we do with this? Okay, remember, once again, the bid discount is bigger than the ask discount, so we need to subtract the discount from the spot, and then we will get these exchange rates. Okay, so let's do the problem. First, we sign for a contract to change 1 million euros to dollars in 6 months. Okay, we need to know how many dollars we're gonna get in 6 months. Once again, the one we are trading is at the bottom of the chain rate, so we're gonna be multiplying. So that means that we're gonna be using the bid. So that's gonna give us the $645,000. Then, as for a loan in the domestic country, which final value equals this $645,000 that we get from the step number 1. We do that, we solve for the present value, we use the interest rate to borrow in our country, in the US, that's 6%, okay? And we get this match. This is the money that we can get today, $626, $213. Let's go for the foreign country. As for loan, which final value equals 1 million euros. That's the money that we are getting in 6 months, right? Now the interest rate to borrow money in euro is 750. So we solve for this and we get the 963,155.42 euros. Okay, that's the money that we can get today, but that's not the final answer because we need dollar. We are American now. Okay, so the next step, we are going to exchange the dollars that you get to your currency today. Okay, remember today. So that means that we need to use the spot. Okay. So we are going to use the euro, and the one at the bottom is the euro again. So we are going to multiply. So we are going to get 626, 602, $41. So final thing, we need to check which one is better. In this case, the one better is the one in the foreign country. What is the cost of the operation? And the second question. Now in the next slide, I put both solutions in the same slide. Okay. So remember, in the domestic country, is the difference between the money that you can get in 6 months and the money you can get today. So that's the 18,786. In the foreign country, is the difference between the money that you can get in 6 months and the money you can get today. So that's the 18,387. Okay, so this one here is cheaper, not by much. Okay, we are almost in equilibrium. Okay, but cheaper. To solve the second question, once again, to borrow, to solve for the borrowed dollar interest rate for 6 months, okay, to solve this part, okay, we need to do some calculations, and we're going to get that is 5.93. You realize the original number was 6%? It is really close because, well, we are almost there in equilibrium. That's why the difference is really small. Okay, but, well, we save a little money if we perform the operation in the foreign country. Okay, all right, one more. I leave you alone. We stay home. It's yeah, I changed the name today. Okay, it's a new name. So now, once again, you're an American company. The new thing about this problem, if it is, this is for 4 months, just 4 months. Okay, so yeah, the rest is gonna be the same. Okay, so pause the video again, do the problem, and come back. So you remember that I showed you that I had a Darth Vader watch? Yeah, you should see my shoes. Okay, nice, right? Okay. All right. So let's go back to the problem. Okay. Once again, we need to check the discount. Okay. Once again, in this case, is the bid discount is bigger, so we need to subtract. Subtract over here. Okay. So we're gonna get these forward rates for 4 months. Okay. So first step in the domestic country, we need to sign a forward contract to change the money that we're getting in 4 months to dollars. Okay, so once again, the one that we are trading is at the bottom of the chain rate, so we're gonna use the bid, so that's gonna give us this match. Okay, 173, 350. Now we need to ask for a loan, which final value is that amount of money. Okay, so that's gonna be now the interest rate in your country is 6.70%. Remember, it's always the borrow interest rate, so we calculate the numbers and we get this much, 169, 563 in just 4 months. Okay, so it's not that far from the number that you can get in the US. Let's go for a foreign country. Okay, so remember, we know how much money we're getting in the foreign currencies, so let's go ahead and ask for a loan, which final value is the amount of money that we are getting in the future. So $250,000, sorry, euros. Okay, euros. So we do the numbers. Now it's 570%. Okay, the interest rate for just 4 months. Okay, so we get this much in euros. Okay, we are not done. Okay, we need to transfer that into dollars. So we're gonna do that. Okay, we're gonna change that much money to your currency today, and that's gonna give us 172, 325, 81. So more money that we can get in the domestic country. So once again, we're gonna choose to perform the operation in the foreign country. The cost. So remember the difference between the money that you can get in 4 months and the money that you can get today in the domestic country. So that's $3,786 of cost, and the money you can get today in your currency in the foreign country. So they're gonna give us a cost of 1,024. Okay, so it's really cheap actually. So we want that. We want the cheaper one. If you do the same question that always, the borrow dollar interest rate for 4 months, okay, you're gonna see how the number that you're gonna get is pretty wide. Okay, 954 is a pretty big difference. Well, that explains why there is such a big difference here. Okay, it's pretty far away from equilibrium. Okay, well, it's just an example. Okay, that's probably a situation that won't happen in real life. Okay, but just for the sake of the sample. Okay, that won't happen. I mean, the fact that it's so far away from equilibrium. Okay, all right. So that's all the practice for today. Okay. In the next section, in the next class, probably in the next week, we're gonna have 2 sessions. Okay. For the next week, we're gonna have the documentary on Bitcoin. Okay, that will give you some advice about how to talk about that. Okay, and then another session on problems where we're gonna mix both of them back to back. Okay, so you can practice a little bit more. Okay, all right, guys. I see you next week.